I always believed our marriage was invincible. 40 years together, Mary and I had built a life filled with shared memories, laughter, and a deep companionship. Or so I thought. On a seemingly ordinary Thursday, my world came crashing down. I had returned home early from a business trip, hoping to surprise Mary with a quiet dinner. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over our suburban house as I pulled into the driveway. I noticed an unfamiliar car parked outside, but dismissed it as a visitor from the neighborhood. I walked up the steps, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. The house was tranquil. The familiar scent of home greeted me, a mix of lavender from Mary's favorite candle and the faint aroma of dinner lingering in the air. I called out for Mary, expecting her to appear with a smile and a hug. Silence greeted my ears instead. As I wandered through the rooms, a sense of unease crept over me. The house felt still, almost as if holding its breath. I glanced out the window and saw shadows dancing in the dimming light. That's when I heard it. A muffled sound coming from upstairs. Faint, but unmistakable. Heart pounding, I ascended the staircase quietly, my footsteps barely making a sound on the carpeted steps. The hallway was bathed in soft golden light from the setting sun filtering through the windows. I paused outside our bedroom door, uncertainty gnawing at my insides. I reached for the doorknob, hesitating briefly before turning it slowly. The door creaked open, revealing a scene that shattered my heart into 1,000 pieces. There, on our bed, lay Mary entwined with another man, their bodies pressed together in an intimate embrace. Shock froze me in place, disbelief washing over me in waves. Time seemed to stand still as I struggled to comprehend the scene before me. Mary's eyes widened in horror as she registered my presence, her mouth forming a silent plea. The man beside her scrambled to cover himself, his face a mask of guilt and shame. Anger surged through me, hot and fierce, but beneath it all was a deep, throbbing ache of betrayal. Words failed me as I stood there, grappling with the reality of what I was witnessing. Mary's voice trembled as she tried to explain, but her words fell on deaf ears. The sanctity of our marriage, built over 4 decades, lay shattered in that moment of devastating revelation. Without a word, I turned and walked away, the echoes of Mary's desperate apologies fading behind me. Downstairs, I packed a small bag with trembling hands, my mind numb with shock. The house that had once been a sanctuary now felt suffocating, filled with memories tainted by betrayal. I left without looking back, the weight of disbelief and heartache heavy upon my shoulders. The drive was a blur, the road stretching out endlessly before me as I wrestled with a storm of emotions. How could Mary, my life partner, betray me in such a profound and irreparable way? Days turned into weeks as I sought refuge with friends who offered comfort and support. Dr. Caldwell, our trusted therapist, guided me through the turbulent waters of grief and betrayal. Healing takes time, she would remind me, her voice a soothing balm to my wounded spirit. Slowly, the raw ache began to dull, replaced by a quiet resolve to rebuild my life on my terms. I filed for divorce, severing ties with Mary and the life we had painstakingly built together. Legal proceedings were swift, dividing assets and settling affairs with a detached efficiency that belied the emotional wreckage left in its wake. With the support of loved ones, I found a small apartment on the outskirts of town, a humble refuge where I could begin anew. I immersed myself in work, throwing myself into projects with renewed vigor to distract myself from the gaping hole in my heart. Weeks turned into months, and the sharp edges of pain began to soften. I sought solace in long walks along the riverbank, the gentle rhythm of nature offering a semblance of peace. Memories of Mary lingered like ghosts in the corners of my mind, but with each passing day, their hold on me weakened. One evening, as I sat on my balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, a sense of clarity washed over me. The road ahead stretched out, uncertain yet filled with possibilities. I had survived the storm of betrayal, emerging stronger and more resilient than I had ever thought possible. Life continued to unfold with its rhythm and cadence. I reconnected with old friends, rediscovered forgotten passions, and embraced the freedom of solitude. The wounds of betrayal had scarred me, but they had also taught me invaluable lessons about trust, forgiveness, and the fragile complexities of human relationships. In the quiet moments before sleep, I would sometimes find myself thinking of Mary, not with anger or resentment, but with a sense of detached sadness. I hoped she had found her path to healing and redemption, even as I forged ahead on my journey. As the seasons changed and time marched onward, I found a measure of peace within myself. The wounds of betrayal had healed into scars, a testament to my resilience and the unwavering support of those who had stood by me. And so, dear reader, this is not just a story of heartbreak and betrayal. It is a story of survival, of finding strength in vulnerability, and of the courage to embrace life's unexpected twists and turns. Above all, it is a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, there is always a glimmer of hope waiting to be discovered. As I look towards the future with a renewed sense of optimism, I know that I have emerged from the shadows of betrayal into the light of self-discovery. The road ahead may be winding and uncertain, but I walk it with a heart open to new possibilities and a spirit tempered by resilience. For in the end, it is not the pain of betrayal that defines us, but our response to it, with grace, with courage, and with an unwavering belief in the healing power of love. And so, my dear reader, I bid you farewell with a heart full of gratitude for bearing witness to my journey. May you find solace in your trials and triumphs, and may the light of hope guide you through even the darkest of nights. "Mary?" I called out, but there was no response. As I moved further into the living room, I heard faint whispers and muffled laughter coming from upstairs. My heart sank, but I shook off the unease and headed up the stairs. The door to our bedroom was slightly ajar. I pushed it open, and there she was, in the arms of another man. Time seemed to stand still as I watched them, oblivious to my presence. Mary, my Mary, with her hands caressing a stranger. Anger and betrayal surged through me, but I remained silent. I stepped back quietly, my mind reeling from the shock. I retreated downstairs, needing to escape the suffocating pain that was closing in on me. I drove aimlessly for hours, the image of Mary's infidelity seared into my brain. How long had this been going on? Who was that man? Questions swirled in my mind, but one thing was clear. I needed answers, and I needed them now. The following weeks were a blur of deceit and heartache. I hired a private investigator determined to uncover the truth. He was a professional, efficient, and discreet. Within days, he provided me with a detailed report. It turns out this wasn't a one-time affair. Mary had been seeing this man, a colleague named Richard, for years. They met during her business trips, shared intimate weekends, and even had a secret apartment downtown. I felt a strange mix of devastation and resolve. My love for Mary was deeply wounded, but my pride and sense of justice demanded retribution. Divorce seemed too simple, too clean. I wanted her to feel the same pain, the same humiliation that she had inflicted on me. I began to prepare meticulously. Our finances were intertwined, but over the years, I had maintained a separate account, a safety net of sorts. I started transferring funds and moving assets discreetly. I knew Mary would fight for everything in a divorce, and I wasn't going to be left with nothing after her betrayal. But financial security was just the beginning. I needed a plan that would leave a lasting impact. Our 40th wedding anniversary was approaching, and Mary had planned a grand celebration with friends and family. It was the perfect stage for my revelation. I began collecting photos, videos, and emails, any evidence that would expose her affair publicly. The night of our anniversary arrived, and our home was filled with loved ones, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. Mary was radiant, greeting guests and basking in the attention. I played along, masking my true emotions with a facade of cheerfulness. As the evening progressed, I gathered everyone in the living room for a special presentation. Mary looked at me, puzzled but excited. I began by showing a slideshow of our life together, pictures from our wedding, vacations, and family gatherings. Nostalgic music played softly in the background, and guests smiled and laughed, reminiscing. Then, without warning, the images changed. Photos of Mary with Richard appeared on the screen. Intimate moments, hand-in-hand strolls, passionate embrace. The room fell silent. Gasps of shock and murmurs of disbelief filled the air. Mary's face turned white as she realized what was happening. 40 years, I said, my voice steady but cold. 40 years of marriage, and this is how it ends. I walked out, leaving Mary to face the fallout alone. Our friends and family, once so supportive, were now stunned and disillusioned. Mary's betrayal was laid bare for all to see, and her carefully constructed facade crumbled. In the days that followed, I filed for divorce. Mary tried to reach out, to explain, but I had heard enough. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by a stranger who had deceived me for years. I moved forward, focusing on rebuilding my life without her. Revenge may not have erased the pain, but it gave me a sense of closure. I had exposed the truth, and in doing so, reclaimed my dignity. Now, as I look ahead to the future, I am determined to find happiness on my terms, free from the shadows of the past. The days following the anniversary revelation were a whirlwind of emotions and legal proceedings. Mary's world had crumbled, and I, in contrast, felt a strange mix of relief and lingering sorrow. The truth was out, but the wounds of betrayal ran deep. Mary attempted to salvage what was left of our marriage, pleading with me to reconsider. She wrote letters, left voicemails, and even showed up unannounced at my lawyer's office, desperate for reconciliation. Each attempt only reinforced my decision. The trust between us had been shattered irreparably, and there was no going back. Divorce proceedings moved swiftly. With the evidence of infidelity in hand, my lawyer negotiated a favorable settlement. I retained most of our assets, thanks to the careful planning and financial precautions I had taken beforehand. Mary, stripped of her illusions of security and support, reluctantly agreed to the terms. Our social circle, once a source of warmth and camaraderie, became a battleground of whispers and sidelong glances. Friends who had attended our anniversary party now chose sides, some offering sympathy, while others distanced themselves from the scandal. I withdrew from most social gatherings, preferring solitude as I processed the end of my marriage. Amid legal battles and emotional turmoil, I found solace in routine. Work became my refuge, a place where my skills and dedication were valued without judgment or pity. I threw myself into projects, working late into the evenings to avoid the empty silence of home. Meanwhile, Mary's life took a different turn. She moved out of our house, opting for a smaller apartment in the city. Our once shared belongings were divided, memories boxed away or sold off. The woman I had loved and trusted had become a stranger, and the ache of loss mingled with the bitter taste of betrayal. Months passed, and the initial shock began to fade. I attended therapy sessions, not out of desperation, but as a means to understand how to move forward. My therapist, Dr. Caldwell, was a pragmatic woman in her 60s, with a no-nonsense approach that resonated with me. She helped me confront my feelings of anger and sadness, guiding me toward acceptance and self-forgiveness. One afternoon, as I sat in her office recounting the events of the past year, Dr. Caldwell paused thoughtfully. "You've been through a lot, David," she remarked, using my name with a gentle familiarity. "But you've also shown remarkable strength in how you've handled everything." I nodded, grateful for her words but still grappling with the void left by Mary's betrayal. "I never expected this," I admitted quietly, "not after all these years." Dr. Caldwell leaned forward, her expression empathetic yet firm. "Betrayal can shake us to our core," she said, "but it also reveals our resilience. You've proven that you're capable of facing adversity head-on." Her words lingered with me as I left her office that day. Perhaps she was right. Perhaps this experience, painful as it was, had unlocked a resilience I didn't know I possessed. I began to explore new interests, reconnecting with old friends who had stood by me during the darkest days. One such friend was Mark, a college buddy and fellow enthusiast of classic cars. We spent weekends tinkering in his garage, restoring a vintage Mustang that had seen better days. It was during one of these sessions, grease-stained and laughing over old stories, that I felt a spark of optimism for the first time in months. Mark has divorced himself, having gone through a similar ordeal years earlier. He offered practical advice and a sympathetic ear, understanding the complexities of rebuilding a life after betrayal. Our friendship became a lifeline, grounding me in moments of doubt and uncertainty. As the months turned into a year, I found myself less haunted by Mary's betrayal and more focused on my healing. I enrolled in cooking classes, a hobby Mary had never shared, and discovered a passion for creating gourmet dishes that brought joy to friends and neighbors. The kitchen became my sanctuary, a place where I could channel my emotions into something tangible and comforting. Occasionally, I would hear snippets of news about Mary through mutual acquaintances. She had started a new job in marketing, moved into a trendy loft downtown, and even begun dating again. Each piece of information stirred a mixture of curiosity and indifference within me. Her life was no longer intertwined with mine, and I was content to let it remain that way. One evening, while flipping through old photographs in my study, I came across a picture from our honeymoon in Hawaii. Mary's smile was radiant, her eyes filled with hope and promise. I traced her face with a fingertip, feeling a pang of nostalgia for the love we had once shared. But nostalgia was fleeting. The woman in the photograph was a memory, a ghost of the past. I closed the album and placed it back on the shelf, resolved to focus on the present and the future ahead. The journey of healing was far from over, but with each passing day, I grew stronger. I had survived the storm of betrayal and emerged on the other side, scarred, yes, but wiser and more resilient than before. Time passed like a slow, steady current, carrying me further away from the wreckage of my past and towards the shores of new beginnings. The initial shock of Mary's betrayal had subsided, replaced by a quiet determination to rebuild my life on my terms. I found solace in routine and rediscovered passions long set aside. Cooking became not just a hobby, but a form of therapy, a creative outlet where I could channel my emotions into delicious meals. I experimented with new recipes, hosting small dinner parties for friends who appreciated my culinary endeavors. Mark remained a steadfast presence in my life, a friend who understood the complexities of betrayal and divorce. We continued our weekend car restoration projects, bonding over shared memories and a mutual appreciation for classic automobiles. His companionship was a reminder that I was not alone in navigating the aftermath of a shattered marriage. Work provided stability amidst the turbulence of my personal life. I threw myself into projects with renewed vigor, earning accolades and promotions that affirmed my professional worth. The office became a sanctuary of sorts, where my skills were valued and respected without the shadow of personal turmoil. Dr. Caldwell's therapy sessions became less frequent, but no less valuable. She encouraged me to explore new interests and embrace opportunities for personal growth. Rebuilding after betrayal is a journey, she would often say, her voice a steady anchor in the stormy sea of emotions. But it's also a chance to rediscover yourself. One sunny afternoon, while browsing a bookstore for new cookbooks, I met Sarah. She was browsing the same aisle, her laughter infectious as she flipped through the pages of a novel. Our eyes met, and a spark of recognition passed between us. Sarah was a widow, navigating her journey of loss and renewal. We struck up a conversation over coffee in the bookstore cafe, sharing stories of resilience and hope. Sarah was warm and compassionate, with a gentle understanding that mirrored my own experiences. Over time, our friendship blossomed into something deeper, a connection forged in the fires of adversity. Together, Sarah and I explored the city's cultural offerings, art galleries, concerts, and weekend getaways to quaint bed and breakfasts in nearby towns. She brought a sense of spontaneity into my life, encouraging me to embrace the present moment rather than dwell on the past. As our relationship grew, I found myself letting go of lingering resentments towards Mary. The bitterness that had once consumed me began to fade, replaced by a sense of gratitude for the lessons learned. I had survived heartbreak and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the possibility of love once more. One evening, Sarah and I sat on the balcony of her apartment, watching the city lights shimmer against the night sky. She took my hand in hers, her gaze steady and unwavering. "David," she began softly, "I want you to know how much you mean to me." I looked into her eyes, seeing a reflection of my journey toward healing and acceptance. "Sarah," I replied, my voice steady with emotion, "you've brought light into my life when I needed it most. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared." Together, we embarked on a new chapter, navigating the joys and challenges of building a future together. Sarah understood the complexities of my past, offering unwavering support and love without judgment. Our relationship blossomed, grounded in mutual respect and a shared commitment to honesty and communication. In the quiet moments before sleep, I would sometimes reflect on the tumultuous journey that had brought me to this point. The pain of betrayal had been a crucible, refining my sense of self and reshaping my priorities. I had learned to forgive, not for Mary's sake, but for my peace of mind. Life continued to unfold with its rhythm and cadence. Sarah and I traveled together, explored new cuisines, and celebrated milestones both big and small. The scars of my past remained, a testament to resilience and growth, but they no longer defined me. As I looked towards the future with optimism and hope, I knew that I had found my anchor in Sarah, a beacon of light guiding me towards a new dawn. The journey of rebuilding after betrayal had led me to unexpected shores, where love and possibility intertwined in ways I could never have imagined. Life with Sarah brought a sense of stability and joy that I hadn't felt in years. Our relationship deepened, each day filled with moments of laughter, shared dreams, and quiet companionship. As we settled into a rhythm of togetherness, I found myself embracing the present while letting go of the lingering shadows from my past. Sarah's apartment became a sanctuary of warmth and comfort, a place where I felt at ease after the tumultuous aftermath of divorce. We decorated together, blending our tastes and creating a space that reflected our shared journey of healing and renewal. Photographs of our adventures adorned the walls, capturing moments of happiness and growth. One evening, Sarah and I sat in the cozy nook of our living room, sipping wine and reminiscing about our early days together. She leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder as we watched the fire crackle in the fireplace. "Do you ever think about Mary?" she asked softly, breaking the comfortable silence. I took a moment to gather my thoughts before responding. "Sometimes," I admitted honestly. "Not in the same way as before. It's more like reflections on how far I've come since then." Sarah nodded, her fingers tracing patterns on the wine glass. "It must have been incredibly painful," she murmured, "to discover betrayal after so many years together." I sighed, the memory still a faint ache in the recesses of my mind. "It was," I confessed, "but it also taught me resilience and the importance of forgiveness, not just for others, but for myself." She looked up at me, her eyes full of understanding. "You've grown so much," she said softly. "I admire your strength." In the months that followed, Sarah and I continued to nurture our relationship with care and intention. We traveled together, exploring new cities and indulging in culinary adventures that sparked joy in our hearts. Our bond deepened with each shared experience, solidifying our commitment to building a future together. One rainy afternoon, Sarah surprised me with a visit to the beach, a place where I had always found solace amidst life's uncertainties. We walked hand in hand along the shore, the waves crashing against the sand in a soothing rhythm. The salty breeze carried away remnants of the past, leaving behind a sense of peace and renewal. As we sat on a weathered driftwood log, Sarah turned to me with a gentle smile. "David," she began, her voice tinged with sincerity, "I love you, and I want us to build a life together, filled with love, respect, and shared dreams." Her words touched my heart, stirring emotions that I had long believed dormant. "Sarah," I replied, my voice steady with conviction, "you've brought light into my life in ways I never imagined possible. I love you too, more than words can express." We embraced beneath the gray skies, the sound of the ocean echoing our shared commitment. At that moment, I knew that I had found my partner, someone who accepted me unconditionally and offered unwavering support through life's challenges. As the months turned into years, Sarah and I celebrated milestones both personal and shared. We purchased a quaint cottage by the sea, a peaceful retreat where we could escape the hustle and bustle of city life. Together, we planted a garden and tended to roses that bloomed vibrant and resilient against the coastal winds. Occasionally, thoughts of Mary would surface like fleeting shadows in the corners of my mind. I wondered about her life, whether she had found happiness or struggled with regrets. But with Sarah by my side, those thoughts held less weight, fading into insignificance against the backdrop of our journey. One autumn afternoon, while sorting through old photographs in our cottage, I came across a picture from our wedding day. Mary's smile was radiant, her eyes filled with hope and promise. I traced her face with a fingertip, acknowledging the chapter of my life that had ended, but had shaped me into who I was now. Sarah found me lost in thought, her presence a comforting anchor. She sat beside me, her fingers intertwining with mine as we reminisced about our journey together. "David," she said softly, her gaze steady and unwavering, "thank you for sharing your life with me." I turned to her, my heart overflowing with gratitude. "Thank you for being my light," I replied sincerely, for showing me that love can heal and transform. Together, we framed the photograph and placed it on our mantelpiece, a tribute to the paths we had walked and the love that had brought us together. The past remained a part of me, a tapestry of memories woven into the fabric of my present happiness. As I looked towards the future with Sarah by my side, I felt a sense of peace settle within me. The journey of healing and forgiveness led me to unexpected shores, where love and possibility intertwined in ways I could never have imagined. With Sarah, I had found closure and the courage to embrace life's unfolding chapters with open arms. Life with Sarah continued to unfold with a sense of tranquility and purpose. Our days were filled with shared routines and discoveries, each moment deepening our bond and reaffirming our commitment to each other. As we settled into the rhythm of our cottage by the sea, I found myself reflecting more on the journey that had led me here, a journey of healing, forgiveness, and unexpected blessings. One crisp morning, Sarah and I took a stroll along the beach, hand in hand. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden hue over the waves that lapped gently against the shore. Seagulls soared overhead, their cries mingling with the distant rumble of surf. "David," Sarah began, breaking the comfortable silence, "do you ever think about reaching out to Mary?" Her question caught me off guard, stirring memories that had settled into the recesses of my mind. I paused, considering her words carefully. "Sometimes," I admitted slowly, "but I'm not sure what good it would do. Our lives have taken different paths now." Sarah nodded thoughtfully, her gaze focused on the horizon. "I understand," she murmured. "It's just closure, perhaps." Closure. The word resonated within me, stirring a mix of emotions, curiosity, nostalgia, and a lingering sense of unfinished business. I had moved forward with Sarah, embracing the present and letting go of the past, but a part of me wondered if reaching out to Mary could offer a sense of closure for both of us. That evening, as Sarah prepared a cozy dinner of homemade pasta and wine, I found myself lost in thought. The idea of reconciliation with Mary tugged at my heart, a whisper of unresolved emotions that lingered beneath the surface. I knew it wouldn't erase the pain of betrayal or change the course of our lives, but perhaps it could bring a sense of peace. After dinner, I sat by the fireplace with a steaming cup of tea, the crackling flames casting a warm glow across the room. Sarah joined me, her presence a comforting presence in the quiet solitude of our cottage. "David," she said softly, breaking the silence, "what are you thinking about?" I took a deep breath, the words tumbling out in a rush. "I've been thinking about Mary," I admitted, meeting Sarah's gaze, "about the possibility of reaching out to her." Sarah listened attentively, her expression thoughtful. "It's natural to wonder," she replied gently. "If it's something you feel you need to do, I support you." Her words bolstered my resolve. The following day, I sat down at my desk with a pen in hand and a blank sheet of paper before me. The words came slowly at first, tentative and hesitant, but with each sentence, I found clarity and purpose. "Dear Mary, I hope this letter finds you well. It has been some time since we last spoke, and I've spent many months reflecting on our shared history. Our journey together was filled with love, laughter, and cherished memories, but it was also marked by pain and betrayal. The discovery of your infidelity was a blow that shattered my trust and left me questioning everything we had built together. In the aftermath, I chose to focus on healing and rebuilding my life. With the support of friends and loved ones, I found a path forward, one that led me to unexpected joys and renewed purpose. Sarah came into my life at a time when I needed her most. She has shown me unconditional love and acceptance, helping me to rediscover the joys of companionship and shared dreams. Together, we have created a life that brings me happiness and fulfillment. I am writing to you now, not out of anger or resentment, but with a desire for closure. I want you to know that I have forgiven you for the pain you caused me. Forgiveness has been a liberating choice, allowing me to release the burden of bitterness and move forward with a sense of peace. I do not expect a response or reconciliation between us. Our lives have taken separate paths, and I respect your journey as much as I value my own. I wish you nothing but happiness and fulfillment in the years ahead. May you find the strength to forgive yourself and embrace the lessons learned from our time together. With sincere wishes, David. I read the letter several times, each word a testament to the emotional journey I had traveled since the revelation of Mary's betrayal. Satisfied with its honesty and sincerity, I sealed it in an envelope and addressed it to her apartment in the city. Days turned into weeks, and I wondered if I would ever receive a response. Sarah offered words of encouragement and reassurance, reminding me that the act of reaching out was in itself a step towards closure. Then, one rainy afternoon, a letter arrived in the mail, a familiar handwriting on the envelope that stirred a mix of anticipation and apprehension within me. I opened it slowly, the paper crisp beneath my fingers, and began to read. Dear David, your letter arrived unexpectedly, but its contents did not surprise me. I have thought often about the pain I caused you and the irreparable damage to our marriage. I am sorry, truly sorry, for the choices I made and the hurt I inflicted. I understand if forgiveness is beyond reach, but know that I carry the weight of regret every day. Our life together was a chapter of joy and love, tarnished by my shortcomings. I am glad to hear that you have found happiness with Sarah. She sounds like a remarkable woman, and I hope she brings you the peace and fulfillment you deserve. Thank you for your forgiveness, David. It means more to me than words can express. May you continue to find healing and joy in the years ahead. With regret and best wishes, Mary. I set the letter down, the weight of its words sinking in. Mary's acknowledgement of her mistakes brought a measure of closure that I hadn't anticipated. Her words of regret were a balm to old wounds, offering a sense of resolution and finality to our shared history. That evening, Sarah found me gazing out at the ocean from our cottage porch. She approached quietly, wrapping her arms around me in a comforting embrace. David, she murmured, her voice soft against my ear. Are you okay? I turned to her, a smile tugging at the corners of my lips. I am, I replied honestly. I finally feel at peace. Together, Sarah and I watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, the ocean waves whispering tales of resilience and forgiveness. In that moment, I knew that the journey of healing had come full circle, a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and the courage to embrace life's unexpected twists and turns. As I held Sarah close, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the lessons learned and the second chances that had brought me to this place of contentment. The past remained a part of me, a thread in the tapestry of my life, but it no longer defined my future. With Sarah by my side, I looked towards the horizon with renewed optimism and a heart full of hope. The journey of reconciliation had brought me to unexpected shores, where the promise of tomorrow shimmered brightly against the backdrop of our shared dreams. Life with Sarah unfolded in a tapestry of quiet moments and shared dreams, each day a testament to the resilience of love and the healing power of forgiveness. Our cottage by the sea became a haven of warmth and tranquility, a place where we could nurture our relationship and embrace the beauty of each passing season. As the years passed, Sarah and I continued to explore the world together, traveling to distant lands, immersing ourselves in new cultures, and savoring the richness of life's experiences. Our bond deepened with each adventure, strengthened by mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to growth. One spring morning, Sarah and I stood hand in hand on a cliff overlooking the ocean, the sun painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The salty breeze carried the promise of new beginnings, a whisper of possibilities yet to unfold. David, Sarah began softly, her voice tinged with emotion. We've come so far together. I turned to her, my heart swelling with love and gratitude. Yes, we have, I replied, squeezing her hand gently. And I'm grateful for every moment. Sarah smiled, her eyes sparkling with tears of joy. You've taught me so much about resilience and forgiveness, she murmured. I never believed I could find someone who understands me so completely. You've taught me just as much, I whispered, brushing a strand of hair from her face, about love, patience, and the beauty of second chances. At that moment, with the vast ocean stretching before us, I knew that Sarah was my anchor, a beacon of light guiding me through life's uncertainties. Together, we had weathered storms and celebrated triumphs, forging a bond that transcended the scars of the past. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the water, I knelt before Sarah on the cliff's edge. Her eyes widened in surprise, her breath catching in her throat as I took her hand in mine. Sarah, I began, my voice steady with conviction, You are my rock, my partner, and my greatest love. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks as she nodded fervently, unable to speak through the rush of emotions. I slid a delicate diamond ring onto her finger, its brilliance reflecting the promise of our future together. Yes, she finally whispered, her voice trembling with joy. Yes, David, 1,000 times yes. We embraced beneath the fading light of the sunset, the ocean waves crashing against the rocks below. In that perfect moment, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the warmth of our love, I felt a sense of completeness that transcended words. Months later, we exchanged vows on a sun-kissed beach, surrounded by family and friends who had witnessed our journey of healing and renewal. The ceremony was simple yet profound, a celebration of love's enduring power to heal and transform. As Sarah and I stood hand in hand, facing our loved ones and declaring our commitment to each other, I felt a deep sense of peace settle within me. The past, with all its trials and tribulations, had led me to this moment, a moment of joy, hope, and limitless possibilities. In the years that followed, Sarah and I continued to build a life filled with laughter, shared dreams, and cherished memories. We welcomed children into our home, nurturing them with the same love and compassion that had guided us through our journey of reconciliation. Occasionally, thoughts of Mary would surface, a fleeting reminder of the past that had shaped me into the person I had become. I hoped she had found happiness and forgiveness in her way, knowing that our paths had diverged, but our shared history had left an indelible mark on my heart. As I looked at Sarah playing with our children on the beach, her laughter mingling with the sound of crashing waves, I knew that I had found my soulmate, a partner who had stood by me through life's darkest moments and illuminated my path with unwavering love. Together, we navigated the highs and lows of marriage with grace and resilience, drawing strength from the lessons learned and the bond that held us together. Our cottage by the sea became a sanctuary of love and laughter, a place where memories were woven into the fabric of our lives. And so, dear reader, I leave you with this reflection on a journey that began with betrayal and ended with redemption. Life is a tapestry of moments, some heartbreaking, others joyful, but each thread contributes to the richness of the whole. May you find solace in forgiveness, strength in resilience, and the courage to embrace life's unfolding chapters with open arms. For in the end, it is love steadfast and true that lights the way through even the darkest of nights. With love and gratitude, David.